Hey there. It's 2019, and people are saying a lot of crazy stuff.
This is a dangerous time. Moving forward, we need to be more vigilant with what we trust from the internet. That's a time when we need to rely on trusted news sources.
I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years.
This seems
Nobody
like a scene
listened.
in a movie
Nobody
where
listened.
the robots are gonna fucking take over and you're freaking me out.
So there's a lot of people talking about big data, AI. It's a big discussion, but let's take a step back. To keep this video short, I'm not going to talk about the speculation that's going on within AI, but rather I want to talk about something that already has happened with AI. I'm going to be talking about apps, more specifically Facebook. Web platforms today collect large digital footprints of your activity. Aggregation of this data is being used to train algorithms to do amazing things. But this new realm of computing is showing us that we need to take data privacy a lot more serious. So, how do we regulate how data should be used, shared, and collected? You've probably heard about Cambridge Analytica by now, but if you haven't, Trump's campaign team leveraged the data of more than 80 million users in the United States by purchasing data from Cambridge Analytica. Cambridge paid to acquire the personal information through an outside researcher who Facebook says claimed to be collecting it for academic purposes. The developers that collected and sold this data were able to do so by exploiting the Facebook API. Furthermore, the bad actors created quizzes to collect political data of users. The Mueller report is out now, and it shows that there was a lot of interference going on in Facebook during the election. Russia used bots to make it appear as if posts were going viral, which Facebook's algorithm rewards. It also reveals that Russia performed this on both Trump and Hillary, but had an emphasis on Trump. So what does this have to do with AI? Well, Facebook's entire business model is based off of their ad platform, which curates ads for you based off of your data. These algorithms are so good that they're not only selling you things that you don't need, but they're even selling you an ideology that you don't need. Yuval Noah Harari, the academic who wrote Sapiens, sat down with Mark Zuckerberg to talk about this issue.
But thinking more globally about this issue, I think a key question is how do you protect human attention from being hijacked by malevolent players who know you better than you know yourself, who know you better than your mother knows you. And this is a question that we never had to face before, because we never had, usually the malevolent players just didn't know me very well.
Yuval contends that centralized regimes are now more powerful than the distributed systems of democracy. Mark, on the other hand, believes that the issue is due to government policy and the technical design of Facebook. He argues that if you adapt the architecture of Facebook, you can prevent the misapplication from bad actors. This would include abusing their ad platform or using bots to sway algorithms and spam feeds. Even if fixing Facebook is possible, the technology that allows the possibility of hacking humans still exists. Yuval makes an analogy of this technology by comparing it to the radio. The radio can broadcast Martin Luther King Jr. or it can broadcast Hitler. The technology is persuasive and it functions at a massive scale. The dangers depend on the message it carries. The issue now is that the technology can target individuals in a very specific way. Heard about this problem. I had a similar thought as Mark Zuckerberg, that the API had been breached, and if the Facebook system could be redesigned in a way that really made it difficult for third parties to breach user data, then the problem would be solved, right? Well, it's not that simple. At my university, I joined a team for a hackathon. We built an app that would exchange contact information and Spotify data between users when they bumped phones. After the phones bumped, each device would show the artist that both users listened to. After developing the app, I saw how much of our team's personal data was being sent up to the server that we set up for the application. I had a digital copy of the person's location, contact list, music listening habits, and the speed at which they were moving. I've censored my contact information here, but as you can see, upon starting the application, because I have allowed the app to access my contacts, it immediately imports all of my contacts and uploads it to a server. Most apps today allow third-party software to connect to their platform through APIs. This is exactly how I was able to pull Spotify data from 2 phones. I used the Spotify API to request what data I wanted, and the user just has to hit an accept button. These third-party systems sometimes abuse the main platform or have bad practices when processing user data. So in a sense, Facebook doesn't sell your data, but rather they provide an ad platform that allows you to place ads based on people's data, their API. Facebook does abide by acceptable security practices, but my conclusion that I've come to is that these practices just create a cat and mouse game for stopping bad actors. Bad actors have proven to evolve with technology, even in the most secure of applications. We can see this in the case of Apple. The data on a shooter's phone was in such demand that the FBI just hired a private security firm and broke Apple's encryption anyways. So what do? It seems that we can't protect our data. Should we use the blockchain? Should we train engineers in ethics? Should companies pay for data? Let's think back to the Spotify example. The data that I collected was your listening habits, and I wonder what that says about your personality. If you take all the data that you have and all of the services that you use, what extension of yourself is that online? Is that a digital puppet that really does know you more than you know yourself? In conclusion, what should we do? Well, I don't really know, but what I do know is we need to reimagine the paradigm of data online and to put privacy first. So it seems that there are a couple things that AI does right now that is kind of terrifying, but I think this is the biggest one. So moving forward, it's our responsibility to protect our information, and we can't keep letting these companies get away with what they're doing, because as Elon Musk said, it's gonna be too late